One of the reasons that my mother stayed with my father was because there weren't battered women's shelters in the 50s and 60s. But another reason that she stayed with him was because of the false hope that he would change. False hopes. We'll get to hopes in a second. False hopes bind us to unlivable situations, and they blind us to real possibilities. I mean, does anybody really believe that Weyerhaeuser is going to stop deforesting because we ask nicely? Does anybody really think that Monsanto is going to stop Monsantoing because we ask nicely? False hopes. False hopes. Another thing, by the way, that keeps us tied to unlivable situations is I've heard a lot that we should never take out dams because that'll actually hurt the river more than leaving the dam stand. And that's such bull. And I was talking to some fisheries biologists about that. It was so funny. I would call them up and I would say, so if somebody were to blow up a dam, would that actually hurt the river below it? And hello? It took me a couple, 3 tries to figure out I had to sort of mask the rhetoric. What I eventually said was, okay, so let's pretend that it's 2015 and the oil economy has collapsed and the electrical infrastructure has collapsed and the people in your community have some explosives and they are asking you whether it would be in the river's best interest to remove the dam, recognizing this is 2015, it's a long ways away and it's theoretical. And when I gave them that out, oh my God, it was so cool. They were like, oh, blow it. Yes, absolutely, now. And, rivers dam all the time, with landslides, with lava flows, all that. That's part of a river's natural process. And then the dam breaks. And every time, I love this phrase, every time it creates, and also, a river is not this area between the banks. I mean, a river, if you look at it in terms of a river's own natural history, they writhe like snakes. They're all over the place. The thing that the fisheries biologists were saying that I just loved was that every time a river changes its course, every time it breaks through a dam, it causes short-term habitat loss, long-term habitat gain. And, okay, the reason I love that is that's it. That's why we stay in shitty relationships. That's why we stay in jobs we hate. That's why we don't bring down civilization. That's why all this stuff is because we're afraid of the short-term habitat loss so we don't get to the long-term habitat gain. About 18 months ago, I was in Colorado, and I was giving a talk, and I was bashing hope, and somebody in the audience said, so can you define hope, please? And I said, I've never actually, I've been bashing it for years. I don't even know what I'm talking about. And so I did what any self-respecting person would do, which is I turned it back around them and said, so smarty pants, what's your definition? And he came up with a great definition. Actually, the whole audience did. It was great. I mean, they were like bouncing out back and forth off each other. The definition they came up with was, hope is a longing for a future condition over which you have no agency. Because I don't hope that I eat something tonight. I don't hope that I sleep. I'm going to do it. The car was shimmying all the way down from Crescent City, so I do hope that I make it home. And it smells like burning rubber, too. This is very bad, 350 miles away from home. So anybody knows about cars, let's talk later. That actually wasn't a joke. Okay, but the next time I get on an airplane, I hope it doesn't crash because I have no agency. And so what hope is, fundamentally then, if you accept this definition, which you don't have to, but under this definition, hope is an acknowledgement of your own powerlessness. So I don't hope that coho salmon survive. I will do what it takes to make sure that they survive. If they don't like the way they're being treated and they want to go extinct, I will say goodbye and I will miss them. But I will not allow the dominant culture to drive them extinct. I don't hope they survive. It was so cool. When I was at Mill Creek yesterday, there were the 2 salmon. One came by earlier. One other one came by right when I said that. It came right up next to it's a pretty small creek, and it came right up next to the bank, moving very slowly. It's a huge salmon. and opening her mouth wide and closing it. And I was thinking, okay, either she's saying, right on, groovy tunes, man, or she's saying, Coho, what about the Chinook? Can we talk about the Chinook for a second? I think she was saying one of those too. Okay, so now we will read this, because this is a really sweet thing to end on. And of course, after talking about the apocalypse, you do have to end on a happy note. Pretend you're a river. Pretend you are the mist who falls so fine, so gentle, that nothing separates water and air. You're the rain who falls in sheets, explodes onto the ground to leave pocks and puddles. You're the ground who receives this water, soaking it up, taking it in, carrying it deep inside. You're the cracks and fissures where the waters accumulate, flow, fall to join more water and more, in pools and rivers who move slowly through cavities, crevices, pores. You are the sounds and silence of water seeping or staying still. You are the meeting of wet and dry, the union of liquid and solid, where solids dissolve and liquids solidify. You are the pressure who pushes water through seams. You are the rushing water who bubbles from the earth. You are a tiny pool between rocks. You overflow, find your way to join others who, like you, are moving, moving. You are the air at the surface of the water, the joining of substantial and insubstantial, the union of under and over, weight and not weight. You are the riffle, the rapid, the tiny waterfall who turns water to air and air to water. You are the mist who settles on the soil. You are the plants who drink the mist, and you are the sun who warms and feeds them. You are the fish who feed on insects, who feed on plants, who feed on soils, who feed on fish. You are the fish who become soils, who become plants, who become insects, who become fish, who flow down the river. You are the river who joins other rivers to become a new river who is all the rivers and something else. You are the river. You do not stop at the banks where liquid turns to solid. You reach into the sky and into the soil. Water moves through rocks, comes up to form pools far from the fast flow where the rivers move together, seeps down to join still waters deep below the surface, waters who sleep and wake and sleep and mingle with the stones who are the river too. You are the river who is married to the mountains you have known since they were young, who have given themselves to you as you have given yourself to them. You are the canyons you nestle into, each year deeper than the year before. You are the forests who give you their fallen trees, the meadows you flood and who feed you back their fruits and fine insects who fly to your surface to be taken in by the fish who with their own bodies again feed the meadows. You are the river who feeds the ocean, who feels the tides pushing and pulling against your mouth, the waves mixing fresh and salt. You are that intermingling. That is who you are. That is who you have always been. You are the river. You have lived with volcanoes and glaciers. You have been dammed by lava and ice. You have carried log jams so large and so old that they grow their own forests, with you running beneath. You have lived through droughts and floods. You are the river. You miss the salmon. You miss the sturgeon. You miss the ocean. You miss the meadows. You miss the forests. You miss the beavers and otters and grizzly bears. You miss the humans. You are the river. You want them back. You want to feel the tickling of the sturgeon, the thrusting of the salmon. You want to carry food and soil to the ocean. You want to cover the meadows as you used to, and you want to give yourself to them, and you want them to give themselves to you, as you have done forever, and as they have too. Now, pretend you are a forest. You are the bark of trees and the hairy moss who hangs from them. You are the duff who becomes soil, who becomes trees, who becomes seeds, who becomes squirrels, who become owls, who become slugs, who become shrews, who become soil. You are the trees who cannot live without the fungi, who cannot live without the voles, who cannot live without the trees. You are the fire who cannot live without the trees, who cannot live without the woodpeckers, who cannot live without the beetles, who cannot live without the fire. You are the wind who speaks through the trees and the trees who speak through the wind. You are the birds who sing and the birds who do not. You are the salamanders, the ferns, the millipedes, the bumblebees who sleep on flowers, waiting for the morning to warm you up so you can eat and fly on home. You too have lived through drought and flood, hot and cold. And you too miss the salmon. You miss the owls, the grizzly bears. You miss the rivers. You miss the people, the humans. You want them all back. You need them back, or you will die. Thank you.
You heard the second part of a 1-hour talk by the young environmental writer Derrick Jensen. I recorded him in November 2004 at the Oakland, California warehouse of AK Press. Derrick Jensen is the author of many books, among them The Culture of Make-Believe, A Language Older Than Words, Listening to the Land, The Other Side of Darkness, and Strangely Like War. He co-wrote with George Draffan Welcome to the Machine, Science, Surveillance, and the Culture of Control, and The Global Assault on Forests. Vandana Shiva wrote the foreword. Derrick Jensen has a very interesting website at www.derrickjensen.org. Derrick is spelled D-E-R-R-I-C-K. There you can find a list of books that he likes and dates of appearances and classes. There's also a discussion club around the theme of bringing down civilization. There is a link to Derrick Jensen's site on TUC Radio's website, www.tucradio.org. That's tucradio.org. Look at the newest programs page. You can get information how to order a copy of the complete 1-hour talk by Derrick Jensen by calling us. TUC Radio is free to all radio stations. Your tape or CD order is the only support we receive and helps us stay on the air. Call us toll-free anytime at 877-TUC-TAPE for information on how to order. You can get your tape or CD by mail or credit card, by phone or on the web. Our toll-free phone number 877-TUC-TAPE translates into 1-877-882-8273. Time of useful consciousness is an aeronautical term. The time between the beginning of oxygen deficiency and the loss of consciousness. Time for the pilot to save the plane. My name is Gilardin. Thank you for listening. Give us a call.